Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Explode Your Expert Business Show. Today I'm here with the one and only Steve Owbridge. How you doing, Steve?
Hey, I'm awesome, Simone. Thank you.
Fantastic. Now, last time we met, it was about, I think, 4 years ago. 3.5, 4 years ago. It was
Yeah,
in an hotel in London Bridge, in front of
that's
London
right.
Bridge Station.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And I don't even remember what we talked about. I think we just got to know each
We just
other. We
connected,
connected.
actually. That was it.
Say, this is what you do, this is what I do. Cool, fantastic, awesome. And then we kept in touch in the social media world. And I think this interview is well overdue. Gotta say, this interview is well overdue. So we're going to talk
Yeah.
all things about financial awareness, money, keeping money. Really important for every single business owner. So if you're listening, stay until the end because you will love this interview. So before we get into the nitty gritty, let's go and get to know you a bit more. So what's your story? What's your background?
Okay, so wow. I mean, I have a background in business. I ran a training company. We were a family business for 12 years. I set up Cisco academies for Cisco systems in Nigeria. Trained over 5,000 people there, and we impacted about 80 schools while we were there. I actually, my first career was in the motor industry. Started as a junior, and I kind of went up to run car dealerships, won a few national awards in marketing dealer of the year, and also like a new business of the year award. So I've got a lot of kind of experience in various different businesses. I owned a web hosting company for a while and sold that. And now I'm in financial education. But the funny thing is, with all of those careers that I'd had, and I'd made pretty good money, I just did everything wrong with money. I kind of lived this lifestyle that I thought I should live, and I had, I just used to use credit cards for everything. And I was really materialistic, and I wanted people to respect me and think I was somebody. And so I got into all of this debt. And I always say that I was a money expert. And what I mean by that is, and I was an expert at spending money. And I was so good, Simone. I never spent my money. It was always Visa and Mastercard's money.
Hmm.
And what I did is I accumulated all this debt, and basically I got to the point where I actually had £95,000 in personal debt. So I'm
Wow.
sure you'd agree I was an expert at spending money, right?
Yep. Yep.
Now, don't get me wrong, I had a great time accumulating that debt. I traveled the world. I had Gucci cufflinks, an Armani suit. I looked really successful. But in reality, my money would go in on the first of the month, go out on the second of the month, and I was living hand to mouth for the rest of the month.
Hmm.
And it got to the point where, I did all the clever things like balance transfers and using one credit card to pay the other and all those things,
Hmm.
and maxed everything out, and it was fine. And then it got to the point where I couldn't pay the bills. I got to the point where the interest rates went up, and then it became really difficult. And
Hmm.
I remember things like just not having any money and going to. I remember that one time I went to the shop and I needed milk, but I had no money, so I had this change pot with ones and two peas in it.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've probably got a change pot, right? But I had
Yep.
a
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
So I kind of got this change and I had these coppers, and I kind of did this, and I was a bit embarrassed. So I was kind of being a bit cagey with my money, and I got the milk and I went onto the counter and put it down, all these ones and two peas, and I was very quiet. And then they did this thing where they count it off the counter like this, whoosh, 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 and it was really loud. And I thought, oh gosh, I can't believe how embarrassing that is. And it was a tough time. Then I kind of found what I do now. I started to learn the things we teach, because I'm sure you know the phrase knowledge is power, but
Hmm.
it's the application of knowledge that's the real power.
Yep.
Started to learn what we teach, apply it, became debt free within a few years. And now, I'm fortunate to be in a situation where we have a good income, we drive nice cars, live in a nice house, and live a lifestyle that many people aspire to have. And I don't say that to impress you, or to impress the listeners, but more to impress upon you and them that it doesn't matter where you're starting from. If you get the right knowledge, the right coaching and support, you can get to where you need to go. So
Hmm.
that's where we are now. Now I'm very blessed. I get to spend my time equipping people to change their financial life and achieve their goals and dreams in reality. So
I'm
that's kind of my
I'm
story.
really curious. Wow, what a fascinating story. I'm really curious about like, so in a couple of years you got you like
Debt free, yeah.
repaid about almost like £100,000 debt.
Yeah. So
What
so
happened? What changed? What changed? Because I'm
well,
sure there are a lot of people listening right now, and they're like, "Wow, I mean, it take me." So some people might take like 6, 7 years to pay off 10,000.
sure, sure. Well, do you know the thing is, there's lots of things. First of all, there's several strategies that you can use. There's debt acceleration strategies, mortgage acceleration strategies. Sometimes it's about taking stock of where you are right now. Often you've got an asset over here, a liability over there. There's things you can do, and you've got to get really clear with what your goals are. So with any kind of planning, whether that be in business or in personal finance, it's about having a clear, concise mental picture of where you want to be, understanding what you're trying to achieve, and then working backwards and saying, well, what strategies do I need to use to get to where I'm going?
Yeah,
A bit like a sat nav, really. It's like, where's my destination? Where am I now? What's the route I need to take to get there? And then adjust on the way for traffic, right? Same
absolutely.
sort of thing. And so there was a few things, but I think the key thing is, and I'd love to say, look, I came in, I earned all that money. I didn't. That wasn't how I did it. In fact, I end up paying £51,000 back, not 95, because again, you can negotiate with creditors, you can do all these things that they don't want you to know, but if you know, you can do it, right? So knowledge is power, right? So
Yeah.
so I didn't pay that much. I did things like create some equity in some of my assets, and I really just, in a way, it was more about getting the knowledge. I mean, yeah, I made some money too, but really doing smarter things with my money and making smarter decisions was really the key. So again, for anyone listening, I would say that, first of all, getting a financial education is key,
Yeah.
and being disciplined to apply those principles. The challenge you have in the UK, well, any country actually, is that it's not that there's a lack of financial education. It's that there is a systematic miseducation of finance for people. People tell us to ask all the wrong questions. The banks tell us, ask what's my APR interest rate, and
Yeah.
what's my monthly payment. Well, that's the wrong question to ask if you're going to borrow money. So, but they told us to ask those questions, right? So they're kind of setting us up. They're training us to do the wrong things, and so you need to train differently.
Okay, so let's start with this very got a lot of talking points now with just what you said, so I'm really excited to ask. So number one is what are the things not to do? Like, what are some of the things that you're saying, okay, these are the mistakes that a lot of people make, or that you personally made, that put yourself in debt, put other people, that other people put themselves in debt. So what are some like top 3 no go? Like, if you keep going
Okay.
this, you're going that broke.
Okay. So the first thing is, and it, there's two things. Okay. There's mindset and there's skill set.
Right.
Okay. And so mindset, the good thing about mindset and skill set is mindset can be developed and skill set can be learned. And so it's the same with money. So think first of all about the money mindset. You've got to stop thinking about what other people think of you. You've got to stop dressing to impress if you can't afford to do that. You've got to stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. You just because they drive a newer BMW than you doesn't mean you should go and get one on finance. You've got to, in a way, it's all about being comfortable with yourself and where you are in your life. You can't compare with other people. Now you can compete with them, but don't compare with them, because we all started from different positions in life. We started with different advantages, and so you've got to just understand that. So the first thing is just understand where you are and be realistic about it. Nothing wrong with being optimistic. But too many people have got this mindset that, and this was me. So I would say something like, well, it doesn't matter if I borrow money because I know I'm going to be successful. So I'm going to be able to pay it back because I've got belief. And if someone would say to me, well, how do you know? Don't question my
belief.
my beliefs. Don't, at the end of the day, how can you not believe in me? You're supposed to be my friend, right? And so I was all this this a negative thing. You're being negative about my business. You're not supporting me. So that was the first thing. The second thing is you got to, another mindset thing, you've got to be really clear about what you're trying to achieve and learn how to connect your goals with your emotion. And so when you can connect your goals with emotion, then you make smarter choices. It's easier to be disciplined. So for example, let's say you've got a goal that you want to be debt free. Okay. you've got to start. First of all, you've got to dig into that a little bit more. Well, what does it mean to be debt free? How's it going to feel when I become debt free? If I don't become debt free, how's that going to feel? That's going to be pretty crappy. If I do, it's going to be amazing. Maybe you've got kids and you're thinking, well, what impact does that have on my children? If I become debt free, if I don't become debt free. So think about it, get into it and connect that with emotion. Because then what happens is when you're out shopping, let's say, we use our wives or partners for this example. So, a lady's out shopping and she sees this pair of shoes and she says, oh, I need a new pair of black shoes. And she says the thing I need, right? Because we buy with emotion and we justify with logic, right? I need it. Now she's got 5 pairs of black shoes at home. But she said, but not like these black shoes. These black shoes have got a nice buckle or a nice heel. I need them. And they're on sale, right? So she justifies. Now, here's the thing. If the goal is to be debt free and you're emotionally connected to that goal, then what happens is you say, well, I really want these shoes, but I really want to be debt free more. So I'm not going to buy the shoes. So that's one of the real key mindset things. And again, just to give you a couple of budget things, if you like. So again, first thing, don't compare to other people. And I guess it's but get clear with don't not connect your goals emotionally. There you go. and then you've got to know where. Look, most people's problem is they don't know where they spend the money. They don't monitor their spending. There's loads of apps these days. There's loads of tools out there, free tools that you can use to monitor where you spend. It's simple. So you've got to know. You got to budget, basically. I know it sounds really simple, but people don't budget. I've asked people, well, what do you spend on, food every month? They go, I don't know. This about is not good enough. I did an experiment one time. I got an app that was all about monitoring what I spent. Right. And all I put in there was like if I bought a Costa coffee or a McDonald's or whatever it is, like eating out. And I found out at the end of the month, I'd spent over £200 on drinks and snacks. And I thought, and coffees and stuff. And I thought, gosh, I don't know how many jars of coffee you can buy for £200. It's a lot more than cups of coffee that I'd had. So you just got to, really think about it. I mean, there's loads of strategies you can use, but I'd say the mindset is the first step, because if you're not thinking right, you can have all the strategies practically, but you're not going to do them anyway. So you've got to really get into that. I mean, you have to interrupt me because I'll just go on.
I'm absolutely with you. So it's about the mindset. It's about not comparing yourself with others, because also you don't know what's their financial situation. They might be getting themselves in huge debt to show off their lifestyle, while you think they have all their shit together. So,
and something, Simone, especially in the culture that we have, where it's about branding yourself. You get situations where people they're big brands, they look the part, they got great websites. And listen, there's nothing wrong with branding yourself. Absolutely, that's part of marketing, right? But then, you've also got to kind of be very real. Just because you're branding yourself as successful doesn't mean you've got to go and spend loads of money on jewelry. Right, you can brand yourself without having to go spend loads of money, so that you have actually got
I need to let people into an inner secret, because people a lot of time they always compliment me for my suits. I've got good suits. I mean, I'm Italian. That's something. I love suits, but I never spent more than £100 for a suit, and so you can find great clothing or lace piece of accessories. I love watches. Absolutely love watches. My most expensive watch, I think, has been like £150. So what is important for me that it looks good. As long as it looks good, I've got, this one is the best one. I've got a pair of shoes and everyone keeps complimenting me for these shoes. And it's like, oh my God, these shoes are amazing. Like, where did you get them? They're all shiny. It's like, oh my God, they costed me £7. And and I've been using them for 1.5 years, and they are my speaking shoes. So, to make your point, is about even you can brand yourself to show, like, at the end of the day, image is important. It's the first point of contact that people have about you and your business, in particular if you have a personal brand. But you don't have get yourself in a huge debt to look good. That's what I'm hearing you saying.
You don't have to. Yeah, do you know you don't have to? Look, if you can go and spend 150 to 300 pounds on a pair of shoes, and relative to your income, that's fine. It's funny. It's all relative, isn't it? I was chatting to a colleague of mine yesterday. He's like, 400,000-500,000 a year income earner, and we're talking about how. We were talking about cars, actually. He wants to get a Jag, and we were talking about how to do that and which one, and, sharing goals and stuff. And I said, it's funny because when you're not, if you're making 100,000 a year, then there's a certain level of car you can drive. If you're making 50,000 a year, you drive maybe a different level of car. If you're making a million a year, there's a different level of car. But it's all relative. You could say, well, you go and, I don't know, lease a really nice, Jag for £1,200 a month, for example. And for someone, that's what they pay in rent, right? And it's like, well, that's a ridiculous amount. But if you make 50,000 a month, well, it's not really that much. This same person that says, well, that's too much, is taking home £2,000 a month, and they're spending £400 a month on their Ford. No disrespect to Ford, but on whatever car. So plus they probably got bad credit, so they're paying a higher interest rate because he had to go through some dodgy credit company with big interest. So they're even paying more than in some respects than the person that did a big car. So it's all relative.
It's fascinating. I love that. I absolutely love this, what we've been talking about so far, because it's definitely been a huge part of my personal growth in the past 4 or 5 years, in particular since I met my wife. Because
I was going to say you're budgeting for two now, aren't you? Yeah.
Well, no, it's not even budgeting for two. I wasn't the kind of person who I didn't even have a credit cards before. I didn't even know, like, up to like 4 years ago, what a credit score was. So I was completely, like, financially ignorant, 100%. And I had like a lot of, like, arrears in my account, so I didn't even know what that would mean, and so on. So when I met my wife, and she has been attending a lot of financial seminars before, she was like, okay, let's have a look at your credit score. And I was like, what's a credit score? And so we signed up to different tools to check credit score, and it was rubbish. And the only credit cards I could afford, like the only one that I could accept, was here in the UK we have Aqua or Vanquis with about like a 64% APR or something. But that's where I started. So I'll wrap up the story later. But I want to go now into the into more strategic part of now we know what not to do. What are some of the things that people can do now that, say, we are making a bit of money with our business? What are some of the things that we can do to manage our money in a smart way, instead of wasting it?
Okay, so the first thing is, just because you increase your income, it doesn't mean you should increase your lifestyle straight away. One of the biggest mistakes people make is, whether that's in any kind of business, or a network marketing business, or a franchise business, whatever you're doing, what people will do is they have a couple of good months, they start making an extra 1,000 or 2,000 more, and they think, yeah, I've made it, check me out, I can go and afford to get that Mercedes now. And then they go and get some Mercedes lease, and they get too busy driving around the Mercedes that they actually forget to continue doing their business in the same way that got them there. And now their income drops. Now they've got the pressure of paying a Mercedes payment, right? So the first thing is, you've got to give yourself time, get the income to grow, but don't change your lifestyle too soon. Okay, the first thing, just because, with business, it doesn't just go like this, it kind of goes like this, right? And and especially if you're distracted by cruising around town in a new car, maybe it goes down like that part. So you take some holidays because what, I deserve it.
I made it.
Yeah. And now you got the extra money now that went on the holiday because I deserve it. We justify it again. And then your business struggles. And now you've got some pressure. And when you're under pressure, it's a lot harder to do your business because the stress of having to earn money. If you're sitting in front of a client and you need money, it's a lot harder than when you sit there going, whether you buy or don't buy, it really doesn't make a difference to me. I got money. It's a lot different feeling. So the first thing is that. Second thing is you gotta start doing smart things with the money in terms of saving. So you got to start saving, you got to start investing. So again, there's lots of different varieties of this, and you should come up with one that suits you. The one I like is 10-10-10-70, where 10% of your income. We believe that giving is a good thing. So give to your church, your charity, dog's home, cat's home, whatever floats your boat. But giving is a good thing, and wealthy people understand the value of sowing into other people's lives. Yeah. So give is good. So 10% just give to something, The second thing is you save. And so 10% of your money you save. Save up, first of all, for an emergency fund. So don't say, well, I'm saving for my holiday, so I'll do my emergency fund later, because what if you go on holiday and you have an emergency? You need to go and have the emergency fund first. And again, you can start with like £1,000, because a lot of issues would be dealt with 1,000. But really, you want to look at 6 to 12 months of expenses as an emergency fund if you can. Now you've got to build up to that. Then you can save for other stuff, save for the holiday, save for the deposit on the house, whatever it happens to be. The next 10% you've got to invest. You've got to put that into the global economy, property, precious metals, whatever it is. Again, I'm not going to tell you where to put it, but wherever you feel it's going to give you a return. But the key thing is you put it in that. Investing is medium to long term. It's money you never touch. You just let it do its job, which is grow until it's achieved its objective, right?
Yep.
You're sending it on a mission. Someone talked about money being like little soldiers. You send them out to work, So you send them on a mission, and when they've achieved their mission of growing that money into an amount that gives you the retirement you want, then they've completed their mission. And then you try and live on 70% of your income. Now, most people, when you teach that, they say, that's great, Steve, it sounds ideal, but I'm just not going to be able to do that. Well, for most people, they already do it because the taxman takes 25-30% of their income already. So they've already got used to doing it because the taxman took all their money. So all it is learning how to kind of almost tax yourself, pay yourself first, and then change your lifestyle to do that. Okay. So it is again discipline. Now, if you really are in that situation where you just can't do that, well, as you know, it's not about focusing on what you can't do, but about focusing on what you can do. It's about reframing to the positive. Well, I can't do 10-10-10-70, but maybe I can do 5-5-5-85. Maybe I can do 1-1-1-97. Most importantly, I can put some kind of strategy in place to get me into the habit of looking at this stuff, because it's your habits that determine your success. So it's a habit that you can develop, So that's one kind of off the top of my head example.
That's incredibly useful. So 10% give it away, 10% save it for emergencies. Ideally, you want to arrive to a point where you have 6 to 12 months of expenses away. Then the other 10% invest it, and then the rest live of it. Do whatever you want.
The key thing about the emergency fund, Simone, is that the purpose of the emergency fund is ideally you hope you never touch it, right?
Yes.
Because nobody wants an emergency. It's an unforeseen event. So an emergency, by the way, for anyone who's listening who loves shopping, an emergency is not that a particular handbag or gadget is on sale. That's not an emergency.
It's not the new watch. Okay? The new watch is not an emergency.
Oh, this watch is on sale. It's an emergency. No. But it's things like, listen, when your boiler breaks or your car breaks down, and you would have had to go and put that on your credit card or borrow money. Like you see these adverts on television. Quick quid. Hey, my car's broke down. Hey, quick quid. 75% APR, 1,000% APR. We've helped you. Yeah, we've not helped you. We've helped us.
Yeah.
Well, if you've got an emergency fund, you don't go and do quick quid and get into more debt. I mean, don't even get me started on payday loans, 4,000% APR. I mean, it's just crazy. Evil. It's wrong. It's not even ethical, that's the truth of it. It's everything we do it's about a mission. The culture that we're in it's a mission-driven business, not a commission-driven business. If you'd help enough people get what they want, you get what you want. And it's not to mention, look, great that we get paid to do what we do, but the best part is developing people.
Yeah.
Helping people change their lives. That's the best part. Money is, as you know, I mean, someone like you, you've got a great income, you're just making an impact, but you don't get up every morning, I'm sure, and you may correct me if I'm wrong, you don't get up every morning thinking about how much money you can make, but more about the impact that you can make. Would
Yeah,
that be fair to say?
absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, because you understand that your impact determines your income, right?
Yep.
And when I say that to people, they go, "Yeah, but I just like helping people. I don't want to make money." I said, "Well, look, your impact determines your income, but your income determines your impact. So the more money you've got,
So you
the
gotta
more
make some.
help you
You
can
gotta
give,
make some money
right?"
of it. Absolutely, I completely agree with you.
One of the
Um,
great things is saying, if you want to help the poor, the first step is to not be one of them.
yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. So it was is really interesting what you mentioned about in terms of what you live off, in particular if you're a business owner as well. You want to be able to separate your business income from your personal income, and
Absolutely.
that's a big one for everyone who is in business. And at the beginning there are a lot of very blurred lines, and if that's the only money that you have, it's easy to just say, okay, that's my money. But for example, I've been living for the past few years. My income is £3,000 a month. That's what I live off, and that's it. My
Yeah,
business partner, £3,000 a month. We pay the stuff, we pay the rest. All the money is kept in the business,
yeah,
and
of
then we do the
course.
investment in the business. And now we started by saving. We started investing in other companies, in micro agencies, to help that to create an additional flow
Yeah.
for the future. So is there
But
something
it would
we?
have been so easy for you to start having this success and think, now, I'm a speaker. I need to look the part. So I'm going to go and get my Lamborghini now. So I'll lease that because I need it for
Yeah.
marketing,
I
right? It
don't
would
I
be
don't even
easy
have
to
a
do
car.
that.
I don't
No,
even have a
but it would be easy,
car.
right? Because so many people do that, don't they?
Yeah, no,
We know there's people out there that do that, and it's all about,
absolutely.
oh,
And
this is me,
it's all
you
about the
know.
appearance. It's all about the appearance. But I
Yeah,
think that you mentioned the first thing. As long as you're comfortable in yourself, and you don't need to explain to other,
that's right.
because other people will judge you no matter what. Whether you have the Lamborghini, whether you don't have Lamborghini, they will all have their opinion of you.
Yeah,
So what's really matter is the opinion that you have of yourself,
yeah.
as you said before.
I got to tell you a Lamborghini story,
Go for
actually.
it. Go for
My
it. We,
son,
we
my
always
son,
like Lambo stories.
my son is 10, and I said to him, I said, so he said he wants to get a Lamborghini. I said, okay, well, what color do you want? So he wants like an orange one, and I said, okay, so that's great. I said, well, what are you going to do when you grow up? What business or job are you going to do? And at the time he said, well, I want to be an air traffic controller. I said, well, that's great. Okay, so let's go find out how much an air traffic controller makes. So we looked online, and it was like 60,000 a year or something like that. So I said, well, you're going to take home like 2,500, 3,000 a month, maybe. I said, well, let's look up how much it costs to lease a Lamborghini. It was like a couple of thousand a month. I said, okay, so then you've got insurance and fuel and all that.
Uh-huh.
And I said, so how are you going to live and pay for a rent or mortgage or food? And he kind of, it's so funny. He's 10. He just kind of went, I think I'll just do what you do. So I said, well, I don't have a Lamborghini at this point, but to be fair, we've been looking at Lamborghinis this week, and he's going, can we just get a Lamborghini? I said, mate, maybe in 2 or 3 years we can look at one, but right now, I said, look, it's going to be much better when you're a teenager, right? He said,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, I can pick you up and
Right
drop
now,
you at
right
your
now you can.
house. Yeah, exactly.
That's
So we're
brilliant.
fine. We're fine with what we got. But he's funny because he'll be at school, and we wouldn't consider ourselves rich, but he'll be at school, and he said to me the other day, one of the kids at school said, "Is your dad rich?" And I said, "Well, what did you say?" He went, "I just said yeah." I said, "Well, I wouldn't say we're rich, mate. I mean, we're
we're,
comfortable,
we're,
but
we're
not
good.
rich, you know."
And also,
But
what does it matter? What is
But
rich?
he's rich though,
Is that
because I said to him, I asked him, if there's anything he could change in his life, what would he change? And he thought about it. He went, nothing really. He said, I have an awesome life. I said, okay, that's kind of what you want to hear as a parent, isn't it?
yeah,
So yeah, very
absolutely.
proud of him.
So I want to ask a couple of questions before we
Sure.
wrap up on something. If you are a business owner and you want to kind of future proof yourself, because a lot of times we will not have the business depends on us, and you see a lot of businesses that they go bust because there is a health scare, or there is a moment where the entrepreneur cannot function anymore, or maybe there is a death, whatever. Like,
Sure.
touch wood, none of these things will happen, but they can happen. And it's naive to think that it will never happen. So, what are some of the things that as entrepreneurs then we can do to future-proof ourselves?
Do you know, it's a great question, and I'm really glad you asked it, because so many people don't think like that. And so look, there's lots of protections and things out there. So you've got things like, life insurances and critical serious illness covers, income protection, also available for self-employed people. So there's lots of things that people can have. The challenge people have is they don't know what to get and how to work out what they need, and then they get sold something that sometimes isn't the right thing. So that's why kind of what we do is from an educational perspective. But definitely, again, one of the biggest things that frustrates me is that people have got this mindset that, well, it will never happen to me. I'm fit and healthy. I know this week of a lady that died at 30 years old and left a child behind. Our closest family friend died at 44 years old last year. And I know that people die and it's unexpected. You don't know. You get seriously or critically and you can't work. Well, what happens to your business? So there's a few things that you can do. Now, when you get to a point where your business is big enough that you're able to leverage other people's time, other people's skills, and take time out of your business, then it runs yourself. And that's when you've got a real business, when your business runs, whether you're there or not, right?
Yep.
Using the power of leverage. So I'm fortunate that in the kind of business that I'm in, if I'm away on holiday, my business still works, still makes money. If I'm sick, my business still works, still makes money, and it's good. So in that respect, it's good because I'm using the power of leverage, but also, if you have multiple income streams, that also helps too.
Yeah.
So in your business, you have multiple income streams. Future-proofing your business, there's the bit that you can do, which is build your business and have multiple income streams, and also understand that, you need to have a business there. When the economy is good, your business is good, and when the economy is bad, your business is good. And so, for example, in our sector, where we're in financial education, when the economy is bad, our business is great. People need help. They need to make more money, so we offer them the opportunity to earn more money. They need help with getting out of debt. They just need help. When the economy is good, our business is great because they need mortgages. They're buying houses. They need more protection. So we kind of win whatever is happening. So that's great for us. So that's why we just continually increase. So that's kind of the business side. From the personal perspective, if you are running your business and it relies on you, and your family relies on you, particularly if you're the breadwinner, then you need to make sure that if you can't work and therefore can't bring in income, you've got something in place that would do that for you in terms of some kind of protection or insurance to make that happen. Because, it can be devastating. And I got to say, even when you're an employee, same thing, because we all know people that have been made redundant, and people often tell you, jobs are bad, business is good. And look, I agree that a business is the way to become wealthy, not a job, because a job, you trade time for money, and using the power of leverage and building a business gives you, unlimited income potential. So I get that. But at the same time, you might be amazing at your job and say, well, I've got job security. I'm sure you've heard that before. I have job security.
Until you're made redundant.
It's job security when you go, I've got job security because I've been in my job 12 years and they love me there. And then they bring in a new boss that doesn't like you. And now, you're out. Or you might be amazing at your job. And I do this at seminars sometimes. Like, how many of you are employed? And then a load of people put their hand up and I say, how many of you are good at your job? And funny enough, always more people put their hand up for that, like they didn't get a question. I said, it doesn't matter how great you are at your job. If your boss is bad at their job, your job is in jeopardy, right? Doesn't matter how good you are, you can still lose yours because they're terrible at their job. Big companies didn't close down because the people on the ground. No. They closed down because the people at the top who did the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So, so things like you've got to get protection for stuff like that. And don't have this mindset that it will never happen to me, because I can give you countless examples where it does. It's important to do. And again, in your business, in your personal life, because think about it. Why do you go into business? Yes, you've got a mission, you're passionate, but ultimately, and most people wouldn't do it for free. They want to make money. So the question is, well, why do you want to make money? Well, I want a nice lifestyle. Well, what kind of lifestyle? Well, I haven't really thought that far ahead. Well, what if you can't earn money? Do you still want the lifestyle? Well, yeah. Well, what are you doing to make sure that happens? Nothing. I'm just hoping it's all going to be okay, and I don't get sick, and I don't get cancer. Look, 1 in 3 people get cancer. That's crazy, right? That's a ridiculous statistic.
Yeah.
And yet, so thankfully it's not me or you.
I think someone put it very well early in my business education, and it was hope for the best and be prepared for the worst.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the most realistic approach we can put down, because yes, it's important to have that positive mindset. It's important to pay attention to what you have or what you don't have. Also, it's important to see what if things don't go to plan. What's my backup plan?
Absolutely.
What will happen then? What can I put in place? So if something happened, then I got my ass covered. So then I can focus even more on the things that I want. So it just gives you that peace of mind knowing that you have your back covered.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the thing is, you know that when you do that, it takes some pressure off you as well. And when you're working without that kind of pressure, it helps. So, you especially if you're married or you've got kids, you got to look out for your family. And here's the problem. A lot of time is people say, well, if I do that and have that backup plan, then that means I don't have faith in my business or in myself. That's negative. That's ignorance. That's not being smart. Just because you say I have protection. So, for example, I have a life insurance policy for me, for my family, and we've got policies for various things. Now, I'm hoping I never, ever have to use them. But I know that if I don't make it home tonight from a meeting, my family's taken care of for the rest of their lives. And that costs me less than it costs to insure my car.
Yep.
Now, to me, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, Steve, it's time to wrap up this interview. It's been absolutely fantastic. Now, for people that want to know more about what you do, how you can help them in their financial education, as well as maybe some of the products and services you have, where they can find out more about you.
Best thing to do is probably Facebook me. I mean, you can Google me, Steve Owbridge, online. I'm pretty easy to find, but Facebook is probably where I do most of my kind of communication. So I have like a free coaching group on there as well, which I hope you're going to kind of contribute a few little lives for me. That would be awesome if you could do that.
Absolutely. I will definitely do that. What's the name of the group?
It's just free business and personal development group. And again, if they find me, they'll find the group. But again, it's just something I started. People kept asking me questions, and I thought, do you know what? I'll just set up a group. And I've got to say, I've got no thoughts or ideas on monetizing or anything like that. It's just a place that I can say, hey, let me share some stuff. If you get value from it, that's great. Share it with somebody. The nice thing for me, I think, is that because I don't make my money from doing Facebook Lives or YouTube channel or whatever, I make my money in my business. So when I throw this stuff out there, I don't have to get paid for it. It's just something I can give and hopefully impact some people to just make some changes in their lives and succeed, So yeah, Facebook, Steve Owbridge is the place to find me.
So there will be the link of Steve Facebook account and as well the group here in the show notes, so you can scroll down and connect with Steve. Definitely someone really worth connecting with. As you can see, he's a good human being, and I think that's the most important. Sometimes in this world you never know who to follow, who to trust, and I can say that Steve is a good person. So make sure you. And I got
to say, to everybody listening, and again, not just because you said nice things about me, but part of the reason I connected with you is I've watched what you've done, and we haven't chatted for a long time, but I have been watching you closely over the years and seeing what you've been doing and how you and your business partners have been really building, and I watched some of your lives, and again, I like to connect with people that I like and that I feel are good people. And again, that's why for you, I've said, hey, let me connect you with this other person because I think you guys would get on. There's a big community out there not everybody in the community is a good person. Some of them are just money hungry people trying to sell you crap. But, I can say that, watching what you've done, you guys are doing a great job. And so, yeah, it's been good to watch.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So, guys, if you're listening, make sure you sign up to our programs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
All right.
listen, and your programs are not super expensive. I mean, you're really, really good value, though, I think.
Well, that's our ethos. We make things. We make good services, and we are interested in getting people results and a good return on what they paid us. So, Steve, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be with you on this show. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed or listening, if you haven't subscribed to the show, make sure you subscribe right now. And until next time, remember that together we grow exponentially. Ciao.
Take care. Bye-bye.